So like that kind of thing. So I think week 5 against the Rams looks like a legitimate target, but they're 2-0 with Cooper Rush. So like they're playing with house money, right? Like even if they lose to Washington next week, they still came out of the Dak absence in better shape. Yeah. And look, I mean, to Robert's point, no Gallup, Amari Cooper's on the Browns. They didn't have Dalton Schultz, the tight end, last night. Yep. They feel right now that the way their offensive line is, it's a better run blocking line than it is a pass blocking line. So it'd be dumb not to run.
And they have the #1 run blocking unit in the NFL.
Right.
Why wouldn't you lean on that?
And the other thing they can lean on right now, Marcus, and you know it better than anybody, is that defense. And last night it wasn't all about number 11. But the Cowboys, they have an interesting and developing offense. They have a Super Bowl caliber, I'll say it out loud, a Super Bowl caliber defense right now, Marcus.
Listen, this unit that they put on the field to rush the passer, I think it's the hardest unit to block in the NFL. When they have Lawrence and Armstrong and Fowler and Micah Parsons, and we see Micah Parsons lined up in a lot of different areas, not only to try to get him on guys, but to create matchups for other guys. And this rush unit that they have, look, man, it's hell when the Dallas Cowboys get you to 3rd and 5+. Like that may be the worst situation you can be in the NFL right now with the way these guys are. And then you couple that with Dan Quinn dialing up pressure. Donovan Wilson had 1 million tackles last night, okay? And that was because he was a free hitter on almost every single play. But when you think about this defensive line and how well DeMarcus Lawrence played last night, but you couple that with Armstrong, these guys are really in a situation now from a defensive standpoint where last year we had questions about can they sustain these turnovers? Is that why they're so good defensively? Now they're getting they getting guys on the ground. I know they gave up the one explosive to Saquon Barkley. This team is flying around, and when you get the 3rd and 5+, like I don't know what you think about as a protection for these guys. Half the damn defense standing up. Ain't nobody got their hand on the ground. Like you don't know who to protect. You don't know where they're coming from.
So let me make a point here that I think might get me yelled at, but I think it needs to be said out loud. We have given Kellen Moore credit for the offense. We never stopped giving Dan Quinn credit for the defense. If this team was 0-3, we would have fired Mike McCarthy on television this morning. How much credit do you give to the head coach for this thing staying afloat without their starting quarterback? And look, it's on his watch. Come on, Jeff, what are you looking at me like that?
I got it. So I understand where you're coming from. We don't know exactly what Mike McCarthy does, so it's hard to give him credit. However,
what do you mean we don't accept what he does? He's the coach of the football team.
So what is he responsible for?
So he's the only head coach in the NFL who doesn't call the plays on offense.
No, he's not the only one. He's the one who struggles with late game management. We talked about penalties. That didn't go well. Like they haven't solved that problem. I'm with you. The reason why we're talking about this is because I said Mike McCarthy deserves some credit, but you be going a little too far. Let's cool it. He's not getting fired. They're doing well. They played well. They played well under him last night. They bounced back from the Dak injury, but we also need to take into account that part of the reason why they're so much better now is because they played the Bucs week 1, and then they played 2 teams that are not the Bucs after that. So go ahead, crown them then. Mike McCarthy, Coach of the Year. Let's do it.
But let's get this thing down to brass tacks. When we talked about the Cowboys, the best thing that happened to them in the offseason was they kept Quinn and they kept Moore. And I said it in the offseason, I'll say it again. Those 2 guys being in the building are still the reason there's a difference is being made. Those 2 coaches are good at what they do, and everybody look. Robert just talked about it, like what Kellen Moore has done, the way he's gotten back and reverted back, the way Dan Quinn gets pressure. And by the way, it is the #1 defensive line in the league. 49 pressures in 3 games, 13 sacks. It is listen, as an offensive lineman, it's a race to the quarterback. You're praying to God your guy gets off a little bit slower so that your guy doesn't get there first because you know somebody's going to get there. So you're like, please, God, don't let it be my guy. But it is a straight race to the QB.
All right, so Mike McCarthy, I tried. I did everything I could for you. I'm sorry. Marcus, give me a quick final thought because I want to move on. We have time to get a little bit on the Giants. But go, Marcus, final thought.
I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna duck from the haymakers that's about to be thrown. I'm gonna give Mike McCarthy credit.
Yes.
Like
there you go.
There had to be some semblance of a message that comes out that he's doing something, right? Like this staff is under him, and I wanted, like I was 3 weeks ago, last season, I was killing Kellen Moore. So I gave him credit for what he's done with Cooper Rush and how he has this offense rolling. Mike McCarthy is the figurehead. He's the guy that is going to take the hits. And when something positive happens, we need to shoot it his way as well. And I got to give him credit, man. He talked when Cooper Rush stepped into this role. Mike McCarthy said, we feel comfortable. I wasn't. Gino, I sent them to the pasture. I killed them but when Dak went down. But Mike McCarthy did make a statement and saying, we will be fine. We believe in Cooper Rush. And here we are. Now, granted, it was the Bengals and the Giants. We all got to keep that in perspective. But ultimately, Mike McCarthy is 2-0 under his backup quarterback.
So let's see. So right now, I think that to try and sell short what the Cowboys are doing is unfair. Let me make another statement. I'm coming right to you, Robert Griffin III, because you were there last night to see it in person. Yeah. To evaluate Daniel Jones I know they were 2-0 going into last night, but in last night's game in particular, I don't know who he's throwing to. I'm not sure if he knows who he's throwing to. I'm old enough to remember when Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney were people we were supposed to be excited about. I don't know what's happened to them. They address their offensive line every year, and every year it gets worse. Daniel Jones is running for his life on every snap, and Giant fans are going to wake up this morning and say, our quarterback stinks, we need a new quarterback. He's the least of their problems right now.
Oh, 100%. I think they had 4 new starting linemen last night, and you put 4 new guys out there with that pass rush from the Cowboys, they're not going to fare well. Daniel Jones was hit 23 times in that game, sacked 5 times. I think he was pressured 23 times,
yes.
12 hits, the most of any quarterback all season. So I actually think that Daniel Jones came out looking better from what happened in that game. You ever see the boxer who goes toe-to-toe with the champ and he ends up losing, but he gains fans? That's what I felt like happened with Daniel Jones. He used his legs, had 79 yards rushing. He actually kept them in the football game for the majority of it. So if you're a Giants fan, you should actually come out of this thinking, man, maybe we do have something here. He is one tough son of a gun.
At minimum, I would not be giving up on it quite yet. Dan Graziano, this season is about 2 evaluations for the Giants. Daniel Jones and what exactly is Saquon going to be going forward? Where are we with those?
Both guys in contract years. And Robert's right, or you're right, everybody's right. You can't evaluate Daniel Jones with what's going on around him right now. I mean, maybe they'll get Kadarius Toney back. At some point. Maybe they'll get Wan'Dale Robinson, who they drafted in the 2nd round this year. But he's not throwing anyone. The pressure is absolutely unsustainable. There's no way Daniel Jones will survive this season if he continues to get pressured like that. And maybe he won't play the Cowboys every week. He will play them again one more time. So look.
And how about Saquon?
Saquon, to me, he looks great. They have him healthy. If he's healthy at the end of the year, they have to make a decision on whether to bring him back and build the offense around him.
What could happen between now and then?
Or they could make a decision in October to see what they could get for it.
Okay. Well,
Saquon Barkley
trades for running backs
in October from the Giants, Jeff Saturday. What do you say?
No chance.
Why not?
No chance. Listen, Daboll understands. There's 2 players on their offense right now, Daniel Jones and Barkley, and they're both in the backfield. You can't get rid of 50% of your offense. Listen, you still have to go play the rest of the season from October on. They are not going to get rid of him.
And that's a good point because they have to beat the Bears at home on Sunday to get to 3-1.
Right.
Like whatever you think of the Giants, 3-1 is in it.
Thank you.
Right? Like you have to. But
and they're not in the toughest of divisions in the NFL. So let's be realistic. If this team gets anywhere near 500, it's a huge win.
Wait a minute. What are we talking about? That's last year's NFC East. The Eagles are the best team in the entire conference, and the Cowboys, when they get Dak back, they're going to get 2 teams. The NFC East is going to put 2 teams in the playoffs.
Okay, we're 3 weeks in. We're just 3 weeks in the season, so let's calm down, crowning everybody as the best ever.